Welcome. Hopefully I'm in picture frame. I am doing a follow-up and an FYI to those that have AR15s. And one of the things that it has to do with is the sling. Now this is my AR15. I love it. It's a fantastic firearm. But we're going to focus in on something I dealt with the company Midwest Industries. And let me tell you, Midwest Industries, first of all, I think they put out a great product. And secondly, their customer service is fantastic. They have point of contacts, contact Midwest Industries on their website, and they get back to you. And they don't just get back to you, they give you an individual's, my experience is they give you an individual phone or individual email contact of someone that you can actually deal with and call by name, which is, to me, fantastic. In the age of press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish, which, whatever, I get it. But then it's, if you have a problem with customer service, you know, back and forth, you know, with the automated answering systems. So it's very refreshing to see that a company is willing to help out its customers. So I'm going to get up, I'm going to change the focus on the camera, and then I'm going to talk about the specific item in question. And the item in question is okay, so the issue here is this section of the firearm right here. What we have here is we have my buffer tube, I believe, is a Tapco generic. When I built it, I'd have to go back and do some research. One of those parts that you purchase for the money, standard, I guess. If you look in, if I look at it and I say, well, it's to military specs, so the name brand, to me, it didn't really matter what the name brand was. So what the buffer tube came with is it came with a buffer, came with the buffer spring, came with the buffer tube, and it came with this retaining plate right here. Now, as you can notice in the video, hopefully, right here, you see that the bottom of the retaining plate curves backwards, and it's basically a sling mount if you have a hook type sling. Now, what I use is quick disconnect sling mounts to my sling. Now, this is a VTAC sling that I have. It's a great sling. A lot of options for length, for adjustment, for quick adjustments and everything. Now, if you, on my CTR stock, it does have right side, left side QD mounts. So I can mount this QD mount on all the way back on my stock, but I also wanted to have the option of mounting it forward, just for comfort, position wise, you know, whatever. I'm thinking outside the box, maybe overthinking it when I did that. But I saw this item. Well, now first of all, back to the topic that I was talking about. This plate, retaining plate, as you know, it kind of looks like a teardrop, covers up the holdback pin, detent and spring. The castle nut goes tight up against that and holds it in place. But this sling curve at the bottom here, I don't have any need for it. So I was thinking, you know, what's a good way to do that? And what I did is I went to Midwest Industries and I got this 30mm heavy duty QD sling attachment that mounts directly to the buffer tube. Now there are two on each side, screws that get Loctited in, so this thing does not spin at all, and it has a really good you know, QD attachments on either side. There's nothing on the bottom of it, It does, as you see in the photos that I'll probably include, where I took pictures of just the item itself. I had this on the gun for an awful long time, but when I looked to, can I remove this item and just use this, that was the issue. Now, as you see at the bottom of the Midwest Industries part, I don't know if you can see that there, but there is the bottom section, this is a clamshell attachment, the bottom section moves up into the same position on the left hand side of the receiver where the spring and detent for the takedown pin is. It is in the same shape, and there is an actual rotation preventative nub, if you will, on this part. You'll see it in the photos, but it is not as refined or determined as this retaining plate is. So it would, you would think, possibly do that, but actually I talked with Midwest Industries and asked them, I said, this is the situation I have. I sent them some pictures of this actual setup here, and they said that Midwest Industries part is designed to maintain, you know, on this retaining plate there is a space on the back end of it. The Midwest Industries is designed to touch onto that plate, into that space, and then not rotate, because all that's holding this on is pressure from the 4 screws onto the buffer tube, and then underneath it makes contact with this buffer plate, or not buffer plate, but retaining plate, and then there's a space for a little nub that sticks off of that into the retaining plate. So it's just an assist onto the retaining plate so it doesn't move. It's not designed to hold the spring and detent for the takedown pin, the rear takedown pin. I thought it possibly could be, so I had thought about removing the retaining plate, having the castle nut still there, and then putting this Midwest Industries part on, and be less having an issue. It's really not an issue, but it's there and it has no purpose, this bottom piece here. What I really need is just a new retaining plate that doesn't have that feature. It's just a strict teardrop, and then that's it. That would just be. So I moved a little bit closer in so that you could maybe get a better look at what I'm talking about. Again, we have the retaining plate, we have the castle nut, and we have the Midwest Industries 30mm heavy duty QD mount, I guess is what it's called. Again, to notice underneath that it actually makes contact with the retaining plate, and there is an actual circle divot space on the aft end of the retaining plate, so that when the Midwest Industries part is flush to it, it actually locks it so this will not rotate. It is tightened down by 4 screws. Moving on, before my camera cut out, I have to give mention to Andy. I'm not going to give his last name, but Andy from Midwest Industries is the one that helped me out. He was extremely helpful, and I have to say that after me thanking him, and you know, we corresponded with probably a chain of probably 4 emails. I sent him some pictures of the section I was talking about and everything, and I actually made some annotations on them, and I probably gave him more information than he normally gets, but he was extremely helpful. And he says his answer for my thanking him was, that's exactly why we are here at Midwest Industries, to help our customers out with any issues that they have. So I can't say enough how happy I am with Midwest Industries, and you know, I've even corresponded with somebody else that I asked about this particular militaristics on YouTube. And yeah, if I say your name wrong, I apologize, but you know who you are. He actually said the same thing. He said, yeah, I would not rely on this one part to cover what the retaining plate is used for. It may hold for a little while, but you know, you don't want to rely on it. The retaining plate is there for a reason. That's what you want to use it for. Another thing that I'd like to mention on this part, and I'm not saying anything negative about the part, but this 6-position stock, the CTR with the riser on it, that's as far as it goes, and it could go farther if this was not here, but we're talking about a finger length. I actually shoot it one notch back. That's the first notch, so it's secure just like that. That's how I shoot. Now if I'm doing laying down prone, I actually have a longer shot, which is all the way extended, and it works for me. Yeah. So again, I just want to thank Andy from Midwest Industries for helping me square a part out on my AR. More along the lines of squaring me out, because I was thinking about just taking that retaining plate off, using the castle nut and the Midwest Industries part, and that just wouldn't have flown to be safe. It could have caused problems later on for the firearm in use, and yeah, love it. I'm good to go. I like the way I have it set up. Yeah, thanks for watching. Midwest Industries, great stuff, great product, American made. Thanks for watching.